Duke, you suck.
You shut your mouth!
Hey everybody, I'm former professional wrestler and host of the Duke You Suck podcast, Duke Durango. A little while ago, your teacher Jason reached out to me and asked if I might have any relatable stories for Anti-Bullying Day or for Pink Shirt Day. Unfortunately, I do have stories on both sides of the coin, having been bullied, but also having been a bully. Today I'm going to share a story with you that came about much later in my life, and fortunately it was able to impact me in a special way. I grew up amateur wrestling or Olympic-style wrestling. Started when I was 11 years old, and by the time I was in high school, grade 12, I was getting okay. I wasn't good, but I would say I was okay. There was a guy in the room who definitely wasn't as good as me. As good as I wasn't, this gentleman wasn't as good as me. Oftentimes, I would kind of treat him like a throw dummy. Whether he wanted to, kind of train with me or not, I would grab onto him and wrestle him around and throw him around. And, oftentimes there was teasing that went along with that. To be quite honest with you, just straight out maybe hazing or locker room bullying. This is probably one of the things I've done in my life that has brought me the most shame. It's not something most people would know. Not something I talk about a lot because I'm definitely not proud of it. After my grade 12 year, I took a year off school and then went away to college. And I went to a Christian college. And the first year I took a communications class. And in this class I had to write a lot of papers on self-reflection. And after a couple of these papers, I kind of realized that the way I had been treating people, in particular this person that I'm talking about, was unacceptable. I'd realized that for whatever reason I was harboring, be it fear or anger, for whatever reason, it was taking it out or projecting my emotions onto this person and using them, in a room where violence was somewhat acceptable because it was wrestling, but the way I was channeling that energy, I don't believe now, looking back, was not acceptable. After kind of realizing this about myself, it was something that I carried with me. It really bothered me. At that time, I was going to school in BC, and after my first year, I moved back to Calgary. I started coaching wrestling at my old high school and was kind of in and around the neighborhood, and had an opportunity when I was at the church across the street from our high school. I bumped into this gentleman, 2 years after I had mistreated him, and not horribly. I mean, nothing overt or harsh, but I had mistreated him. I'd probably in some way made him feel less than or maybe bad about himself, and that made me feel less than and bad about myself. So when I bumped into him in church one day, I pulled him aside and I took that opportunity to apologize to him and to ask his forgiveness. And as you can see now, it affects me. It's powerful because he gave it to me. He never asked why I did it. He never said, "You never should have done those things to me." He simply looked me in the eye and said, "Man, it's okay," and told me not to worry about it. Truth is, I've never seen him again after that day. He could never realize the power that his forgiveness gave me. If I had to live with that today at 49 years old, I don't think I'd be very comfortable with myself. So my message to you guys is this. If you're going to bully somebody, we all have bad days. We all have off days. We all have things we'd like to take back. But the one thing I have to impress upon you is, if you wrong somebody, ask their forgiveness. Because you do not want to carry that burden. We talk about the stresses of life, the things we carry every day. The heaviest burden you will ever carry is the burden of guilt. The guilt you feel for wronging somebody, for mistreating somebody. Today you might have an opportunity to go to somebody you've wronged and apologize and make that right. And if you have that opportunity, I suggest you do so. It's freeing. It's cathartic. And I beg of you to do it. Friends, please lift each other up, build each other up. We're at a time right now where we can ill afford to bully each other. We need to band together as friends and as a society and gather in love and acceptance and kindness. And I can't stress this enough, you guys. Treat each other with love. Don't look at somebody simply as a person. Look at that person as somebody's child. Look at that person as God's child, and you will never see somebody that you should pick on. With that, my friends, I have nothing else to say. Please, please be good to each other.